Appian Way, one of the roads that took thousands of Romans in and out of their capital city every day. Young and old, rich and poor, clean and dirty. And it's where I want to start, asking a question that really interests me. Who were the ancient Romans?
Outside the city, it was lined with thousands and thousands of tombs. So before you got into the city of Rome, you'd already met the Romans. Dead ones, that is.
And the lives of many of them began or ended a long way from Rome.
This is just a tiny fragment of someone's tomb. Someone called Aeschylus. Occisus est in Lusitania. He was murdered in Spain. This lady's Ousia Prima, a priestess of the Egyptian goddess Isis. And there's her little sacred rattle. She's almost looking at you. I feel like saying, pleased to meet you, Prima. Oh, she's great. She's a piscatrix. She's a female fishmonger. And he was a gold worker. And here is an urn, an ash urn, for a lady called Celia Epire. And she was an Auri Vestrix. She was a very, very, very upmarket clothes maker. It's very striking how each one of these people does tell you on their tombstone what they did. Now, I think we have to relate that to the sheer size and potential anonymity of a great imperial metropolis. In a world without ID cards, without passports, without birth certificates, how do you know what you are, who you are? You know that because of your job. I am Celia Epire, a luxury clothes maker. How do you make your identity clear? You say, this is what I do.
This is where Imperial Rome gets really fascinating for me. This is not simply a story of one city getting rich off the back of everywhere else. It's a story of a place where people were trying a new way of living. They arrived from across the world and became a small cog in this big machine. You maybe didn't know your neighbours and they didn't know you. Everyone was looking for new ways to make their mark and stand out. The empire didn't only help people to move up in the world, it helped those who did to show that they'd made it. It created new opportunities for conspicuous consumption. The empire gave most people in Western Europe their first experience of pepper, lemons and cherries. One po-faced Roman complained that cooking had gone from a mere function to a high art. The empire transformed the sensory experience of the city. There were new smells, new tastes, new colours. And nowhere is this clearer than in the elaborate paintings many better-off Romans put on their walls. In Pompeii is perhaps the most famous Roman painting of all. Pretty strange scene, phallus appearing, and some female suckling a goat. But it was probably the colours that would have dazzled an ancient visitor as much as the racy subject matter.
Now, we mustn't make the mistake of thinking that the poor old Romans lived in black and white until they started conquering the Mediterranean. Of course, there were all kinds of local minerals and plants that would give them pigments for paint. But as time went on, they got more and more interested in the special and bright colours that you could get from their far-flung territories. Now, this here is one of the best candidates there is for real red Spanish vermilion, lovely lustrous red. I think we have to imagine that if you came to dinner here and the generous host started showing you round, he might have come and said, now, this lady here is whipping this one because, etc., etc. But he might have said, it's a really lovely red, isn't it? Actually, it's Spanish vermilion, specially imported all the way from Spain. I paid for it as an extra myself.
We live in a world of cheap, bright synthetic colours, but the Romans didn't. In Rome, bright colours smacked of a kind of luxury that only came from abroad, and the desire